channel, and now I'm creating a series of the basic Python. So I've created this slideshow where I'm going to teach Python with examples and everything. So I'm going to read my intro to Python. Python is the most powerful coding language in the world. My slideshow will include all the basic and most mandatory topics in Python. This coding language is easy to learn and it is straightforward. Python is perfect for anyone, especially beginners. And remember, anyone can learn Python. So now we're going to go on to strings. Strings are a data type Python does not think of as code. What I mean by this is, Python does not misunderstand strings as code and does whatever it says. A few basic things about strings are always surrounded by double quotes or single quotes. Numbers are surrounded by string syntax is regarded as strings. You cannot use strings without the print function, more about that in the functions chapter, and you cannot mix double quotes and single quotes when determining text as a string. For example, hello world is in double quotes and a single quote. So if we try this with Google Colab, so if we try this, I type my print function and I say one double quote and a single quote, and I say hello world, and we just waited for it to load. It will come as an error. Now if we go back, now we understand we should never do this. Escape characters. Escape characters are used with strings in Python. Escape characters help Python determine quotation marks as syntax as part of a sentence. The escape character for Python is the backslash. Try not to confuse it with the front slash. There's also a trick in Python, but you will not be using it very much. So this is a new line, but first I'm going to do an example with the escape character. We type the print function again, and we use single quotes, and then we do backslash and M. So happy to be learning, let's spell that right, Python. And if we do this, I'm so happy to be learning Python as it prints correctly. Let's see what happens if we don't use the escape character. It's an error. So we have one single quote here and one single quote here. So that thinks that's the end of the string. But there's one here and it doesn't know what to do with the rest of the sentence. So it comes as an error. There's another way to solve this problem, which is using double quotes. So do double quotes at the end here, and then if we try this, it works. So now that's an escape character. So let's make new lines with escape characters. We make a new code block. So we do print, and then what we say here is I'm a person who loves coding in Python. I'm a person, and then we do \n, and stands for new line, who loves, let's do \n again, coding. And if we do this, we make new lines. So that's all about escape characters. Now it's time for f-strings. F-strings are a way to insert variables inside strings. F-strings work like replacing a word or phrase with a variable so you can save time when writing your code. F-strings use a print function, the flower curly brackets, which look like this, and of course a string. F-strings look a lot like this in Python. So let's use this example in real code. Take new code block. My name equals Mary, and then after that, we do the print function, print, and then what we do after that, we start with the F, and then we write the rest. So let's see, my name is Mary. So instead of writing Mary, you can use curly brackets or flower brackets, whatever works best for you. And then we have to write the variable my name. And let's see the output. So the output is my name is Mary because my name, the value of it is Mary. And also F strings can have more than one variable inside the string. So this one has one, but there can be more variables. Let's see triple quotes. Using triple quotes, you can make multiple line strings without using the new line method with the backslash. Triple quotes are easier to use as well. Like normal string syntax, you can make triple quotes with double quotes or single quotes. Just type these quotes out 3 times and you make triple quotes. A special fact is, you do not need the print function if you're using triple quotes, and this means we can save time. Also, you need to have spaces between all the 3 quotes. Like normal quotes, you must have starting quotes and ending quotes. You must print the line, print the string in multiple lines. So let's see how this works. So we need a new block. You can just do that by adding the plus code. And we write, let's see what we write. So we need to put the print function. And we do triple quotes. And afterwards, we just do that. And then so inside this, just tab, we say, hello, let's just do an example. Hello, my name is Vidula, or Mary, let's just do Mary. And then afterwards, we do the ending triple quotes. And let's print this out. Hello, my name is Mary, which is the exact same. Now, basically that's all for triple quotes. Let's go to adding strings. Like numbers, you can add strings together. You know compound words. They are 2 words combined. You can do that in Python if you want to. There are many advantages and disadvantages in the skill in Python. You can add as many strings as you want. There's no limit. I'll show you an example of adding strings together in Python using the familiar word basketball. Basketball is a compound word of basket and ball. So, new block, print, and we say, like this, basket, and we do plus without in quotes, and then ball. And if we run this code, we have basketball. So let's try our full name. So I'm going to use my name, Vidula K. So print Vidula plus Kalatur. Let's spell that right. And then if we run this code, oops, there's a mistake. We usually don't write our names without no space in the first and last name. But it's very easy to solve this problem. You either need to make a space in the end of your first name, or you can make a space at before the K in my last name. So if we do this, now they are separated. So now that's it for adding strings. Variables. So we're starting a new chapter about variables. Variables are like functions, except you can use them anywhere in code. Functions must be a separate statement in Python. More about functions in the next chapter. There are a few rules in variables as well. You can assign variables any data type from integers and strings to lists and tuples. More about that in another chapter. This makes variables very useful. Another thing about variables is you can change the information that they hold over time in your code. Another thing that makes variables very useful in Python. In this chapter, we can learn more about variables and some specific rules so that variables work at their best. Naming variables. One tip for naming variables is to make them as specific as possible and keep track of how many variables you make. Make sure that no variables have the same name, because then Python will confuse the two variables and make an error. Variables are case sensitive, so even if you can make a tiny mistake when you're typing the variable, like a capital letter, you will get an error. Another tip is avoid making many capital letters in a variable name, since they're difficult to remember. Here are some things you should not do when naming a variable. Start with a number, add spaces in the name of the variable, and add any special symbols. So let's see this in action. So if you make a variable saying my name with a space, let's type that right, and then equals Mary, and we run this code, there is a, error. Invalid syntax means the space. So let's try another example. So if we go back, the next one is start with a number. So let's say 24 cookies. And if we say something like a 4 for the value, try this. Also, there is a invalid syntax error. Now the next rule, of course it will be an error. So add any special symbols like the percentage symbol, the dollar symbol, and the hashtag. Here are some things that are okay to do when naming a variable. Last name, meaning of family. So these two are names of variables that are okay to do. Now let's go to types of variables. There are different types of variables depending on what they contain. For example, a variable that contains a sentence is different than a variable that stores an integer.